In Nigeria, killers sometimes walk freely among us, and Bola Ige's assassination is one of the most shocking. For over 24 years, the real truth has been buried beneath politics, power, and silence. Until now. In this edition of Dark Stories, we uncover Bola Ige's final moments, expose the shocking twists the authorities tried to bury for 24 years, and reveal the figures who publicly pointed fingers. Watch until the very end, because what you'll discover could change everything you thought you knew about Nigeria's political history. James Ajibola Idowu Ige was born on September 13, 1930, in Isa-Oke, Osun State, Nigeria. He attended Ibadan Grammar School before studying at University College, Ibadan, and later University College, London, where he was called to the bar in 1961. His political rise began in the Action Group, working closely with Obafemi Awolowo during the turbulent Western region crisis of the early 1960s. Ige later became the governor of Oyo State from 1979 to 1983 under the Unity Party of Nigeria, again tied to Awolowo's political network. After the 1983 military coup led by General Muhammadu Buhari, Ige returned to legal practice. In January 2000, President Olusegun Obasanjo appointed him Minister of Mines and Power, and in 2001, he became Attorney General and Minister of Justice. His career placed him in direct contact with leaders such as General Yakubu Gowon during the post-Civil War Reconstruction era and other key figures in Nigeria's political elite. On Sunday, December 23, 2001, Bola Ige returned from Lagos to Ibadan, Oyo State. He was scheduled to travel to Abuja the next day for official duties. That evening, he attended a church service at St. Anne's Anglican Church, Molete, Ibadan, before heading to his residence in Bodija. At approximately 8:30 p.m., reports state that armed men entered the compound after disarming his police orderly. The gunmen confronted Ige inside the house and shot him at close range with a pistol. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the University College Hospital, Ibadan. The assassination occurred just 2 days after a tense political confrontation at the Uni of Ife's palace, an incident that would later be seen as a critical precursor to the killing. On Friday, December 21, 2001, 2 days before Bola Ige's death, he attended the installation of the Uni of Ife's wife at the palace in Ile-Ife. According to eyewitness accounts reported by The Guardian, the event turned hostile when political supporters of Osun State's deputy governor, Ieola Omisore, allegedly disrupted the proceedings. In full public view, Bola Ige was jostled, had his cap removed, and was verbally abused. The tension was rooted in a political crisis between Osun State Governor Bisi Akande and his deputy Heir Omisore. At the time, Bola Ige, as Minister of Justice, openly sided with Bisi Akande in the heated political conflict. Following the humiliation, Omisore was quoted in the press as saying, "If you remove a man's cap, you remove his life." Omisore later denied making this statement, but in the public mind, the link between the palace incident and Ige's murder 2 days later became impossible to ignore. In early 2002, police arrested Papa Frio, a feared street enforcer in Ibadan. Frio confessed during interrogation that he was the man who shot Bola Ige inside his Bodija home on December 23, 2001. In his statement, he claimed he was paid by the then Osun State Deputy Governor, Ieola Omisore, to carry out the assassination. Frio alleged that the payment was arranged through intermediaries, and that his task was to make it look like a robbery. Omisore publicly denied knowing Frio or having any role in Ige's murder, dismissing the confession as politically motivated. Frio's account also shifted in later statements, and defense lawyers argued that his confession was obtained under duress. Despite his initial admission, the case against Frio began to weaken. Key evidence went missing, and prosecution witnesses disappeared entirely before trial. By 2003, the high-profile trial began at Oyo State High Court. Those on trial included Iola, Omisore, Papa Frio, and several alleged accomplices. Even political figures tied to the Osun State government and the sitting governor were briefly drawn into the investigation, though all denied any involvement. Court transcripts show that Frio's lawyer, Kunle Kalajaye, S.A.N., argued that the prosecution's case relied on a coerced confession and circumstantial evidence with no forensic link to the crime scene. The judge agreed there was insufficient evidence tying any defendant directly to the killing. By 2004, the court found that none of the accused could be proven guilty, and they were all released. Omisore left the courtroom a free man and went on to win election to the Senate later that same year. Frio walked out with him, without serving a day in prison for the murder he once admitted to. The acquittals shocked the public. Families of the deceased called it justice buried. Bisi Akande, the then governor of Osun State, accused his political rival, Senator Iola Omisore, of orchestrating the killing. Omisore retaliated publicly, accusing Akande of exploiting the tragedy for political gain. Former Oyo State Governor Lam Adesina also entered the fray when whispers emerged about his alleged knowledge of the plot. A case linking his name to the killing was later quietly withdrawn, without explanation. Not long after the acquittals, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka publicly described Nigeria's political system as a nest of killers. He said Bola Ige's assassination was not the work of a lone gunman or a street gang, but a powerful, well-connected network operating above the law. He insisted that those responsible were still holding positions of influence. The federal government's response was silence. There was no official investigation into Soyinka's claims. Key witnesses began retracting earlier statements or vanished entirely. On January 18, 2002, Bola Ige was buried in his hometown of Esa-Oke, Osun State. He was survived by his wife, Justice Atinuke Ige, and their children, Funso and Muyiwa. 2 decades later, his assassination still stands as one of the most infamous unsolved murders in Nigeria's political history, a case where power, fear, and silence prevailed over truth. The question remains, who really ordered Bola Ige's killing? Was it political rivalry, betrayal, or something even darker? Share your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more dark stories buried beneath African history.